Welcome back, and we are now hearing that the SEC is saying meme coins are not securities. We're going to be getting to that story and much, much more. We're going to be talking about ETH and Bitcoin have broken their cycle as we have seen this massive drawdown in the markets at the beginning of 2025. And this is breaking previous cycle kind of trends that we've seen. We're going to talk about that. We're also hearing that Texas is now adding altcoins. But we're going to be starting right here with the Bitcoin price drops below $80,000 and XRP tumbles, why the crypto sell-off is so brutal. Now, let's keep in mind, I mean, if we really kind of zoom out and look at Bitcoin specifically, there is not that much movement in the price. I mean, we were at basically $100,000 and we've come down to 80,000, maybe 79,000, which is a 20% decrease. And this is over the course of about a week or so, right? You can see the 7-day chart is 17% down. Ethereum is down about 23%, and many altcoins significantly down as well. But a lot of people who entered in last cycle or entered during the bear market or this cycle, right, recently into the markets, they're not remembering that we used to have 50, 60, 70% drawdowns in a day. And then the day after that, another 50% down. And then the day after that, another 20% down. So really where we are is not that big of a move when we're talking about crypto volatility. And as time goes on, this crypto volatility is going to continue to decrease because we have the likes of the ETF issuers and all of that involved. Now, remember, just the other day, go check out my recent videos. And by the way, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. That way you never miss a new video. We talk about all different things in finance and really all the different cryptos, all the narratives that are going on, where crypto markets going, and kind of clues as to where the markets are going to go. That way we can position ourselves appropriately in the market, whether it's buying, selling, staying steady, or the like. And towards the end of this video, we're actually going to also kind of circle back to the Bitcoin mining stocks that we've been talking about more extensively recently, because this past week, the end of February 2025, this was earnings week for many of the Bitcoin mining companies. I think a few are at the beginning of March, but basically they're all kind of pivoting as well, and they're kind of moving and diversifying their own portfolios into AI and HPC, which I think is smart for these Bitcoin mining companies, but it's taking a lot of this focus off of the crypto markets, the same way that we've seen the meme coin situation take a lot of this the shine off of the coins and cryptos that actually have value and do things, like Ethereum. Brutal 20% Ethereum price sell-off is not over. But is there a silver lining for Ethereum? Well, I do think that there is. And the World Liberty Finance is buying a lot of Ethereum and Ethereum-based tokens and kind of the future of DeFi. This short-term price action does not negate or change anything that we've seen happening with Ethereum, any of the developments that we've been seeing, right? Even though Ethereum price is breaking a 6-year trend with a sharp February decline, as we've covered previously, in this time frame in 2021, which was basically the last where we were around in the last cycle, right? About a year almost since the halving, same thing in 2021. What we saw happening in 2021 was at the beginning of February and into March, we were seeing massive price moves to the upside. But that's not what we've seen this cycle, right? We're seeing actually significant downside moves in January and February, and we'll see what happens in March, right? Ethereum dropped to a low of $2,075, its lowest level since January 2024, and about 50% below its highest level in November 2023. And remember, this cycle so far, a lot of cryptos have passed their all-time record high, but Ethereum has not yet done that. There is a lot of conversation about how it's never going to do that, and nobody cares about Ethereum anymore because everybody's in Solana. Guys, the meme coin situation has created such a divide in the Solana ecosystem. The smart money, the traders, and the billionaires, they've already exited, right? They've already exited. The people who have not exited Solana yet are probably a lot of people listening to this video if you own Solana, and the meme coin speculators, because they don't think meme coin season is over. And after this recent news from the SEC, maybe it's not. But listen, guys, The fact that we have multi-billion dollar meme coins when Ethereum and Polygon and some of those kind of coins have barely moved in the last year tells me that there is massive price suppression in Ethereum. And when there is massive price suppression, it's kind of like, one of those wind-up toys, right? You're pushing that spring further and further down until eventually the suppression is either going to stop, even temporarily, or there's going to be other catalysts that drive that suppression away, and we'll probably see massive moves to the upside in Ethereum. I previous cycle did not really mess with Ethereum, right? Even during the bear market. But more recently, I do think that Ethereum has the potential at least to get $10,000 easily from here, right? That's a 5x. All of the valuation draining from Solana, the ETF issuers buying more Ethereum as they've been dumping recently. Eventually, that money is going to go back into the market. That's what I've been saying about Bitcoin ETFs and Ethereum ETFs. We're seeing billions and billions of dollars exiting over the course of the February, exiting the ETFs. Well, that money's not just disappearing. It's sitting in somebody's account and either being deployed in other areas of the market, which I don't think is happening, or it's sitting in cash ready to redeploy. I think it's ready to redeploy. And when it starts deploying, there's going to be a lot of buy pressure. And then where is the liquidity? Right now, while MicroStrategy is buying Bitcoin, the liquidity for that buying is from the ETF issuers, because the ETF issuers are selling Bitcoin into MicroStrategy's buying. But when the ETF issuers go to repurchase all this Bitcoin they've been dumping over the last few weeks or months, where is that Bitcoin liquidity coming from? Personally, I don't think that there's going to be enough, and this is what's going to push the price back up. So while the ETF issuers may be the cause of a lot of this price down movement, they're probably also going to be the cause of a lot of upward price movement as well as we move forward. Moving on, Binance says they're not dumping Solana and other tokens, according to their spokesperson. They said Binance hasn't dumped or sold large amounts of tokens, as some tweets have wrongly claimed. Now, I don't know whether Binance is doing this or not. We've talked about on this channel how the big money, they are selling off their Solana, whether it's the exchanges or the billionaires, they're doing it. Believe me, guys, they're doing it. Once they saw this meme coin situation kind of get out of control with this, Argentina launch, guys, that should have never happened, right? And I'm not blaming the president for that situation, right? I told my viewers previously, there are 3 people in this world that I would launch a coin with if I was a celebrity, right? It's Brian Armstrong, the founder and CEO of Coinbase, and the Tyler Winklevoss and Cameron Winklevoss, the Winklevoss twins who own Gemini. These are the only 3 people that I would trust doing it. I mean, people are calling these people who are just meme coin snipers that go and just extract value from the market, hundreds of millions of dollars. It's absolutely out of depth. But yeah, the Argentina thing should not have happened. And so, like, the fact that it did, that was the beginning of the end for the Solana meme coin alt season. And so a lot of people are probably pissed off because we have seen Solana's price come down very substantially. I mean, very large drawdown, about 50% from its all-time record high. And so a lot of the Solana holders are pissed off and they're blaming, oh, this one's dumping their coins, this one's dumping their coins. Listen, if I owned Solana, which I never have, if I did, it would have been gone after the first meme coin incident, because that is top indicator. That is a top indicator. Meme coin season, people flexing Rolexes and, these $200,000, what are those other watches called? That people paying $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, and every video that you see of them buying them, they're like, oh, these are super rare. I'm like, I've seen hundreds of videos with these watches. They're clearly not super rare that you're paying $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 for it. That's completely absurd. But anyway, those are top indicators. That kind of lets us know we are either at the top or very close to the top or already past the top. And now they're blaming Binance, but Binance is saying they're not selling their coins. I would probably believe that. I do think in the next major move to the upside in the markets, if we actually have one, I do think that there's going to be massive selling. You may not see it because the price may still continue to go up, but there's going to be massive selling, massive selling. And I would imagine many of my viewers are going to be doing the same thing. Anyway, CryptoQuant CEO says that most altcoins won't make it. And this is also important to keep in mind, right? The meme coins, like, people are like, oh, Peanut the squirrel, this is going to be the future of finance. It's like, no, it's not. Like, it's not. It's a meme coin. Dogecoin is the only meme coin that potentially has a future as a real blockchain that's going to have real like technology built on top of it. And that's probably not even going to happen. But it's the only one that is really there. And the altcoin season, it's the same thing. I mean, most people are not going to experience what we experienced back in 2017, where there were like two altcoins, or back in 2020 when there were hundreds or thousands of altcoins. Because a lot of these altcoins have had major moves to the upside during the previous cycle. But now all of the ETF issuers want ETFs on all these altcoins. And remember what I said about Bitcoin and Ethereum with these ETFs is they control the price then, because they can dump large quantities of these coins on the market to keep the price suppressed, or buy to elevate the price. And basically they're determining where the market is. This used to be crypto exchanges and whales, but as the coins become more dispersed, this is going to become the ETF issuers over the course of time. And so I would agree with this. You know, people who are saying I'm going to hold my coin for 10 years, it's a huge risk, because a lot of coins from last cycle are not here this cycle. And a lot of coins that are here this cycle won't be here next cycle, because they're just not going to, there's too much competition, right? And so the CryptoQuant CEO, Ki Young Ju, he says that most cryptos beyond Bitcoin and Ether may experience a widespread altcoin season rally in 2025, but projects with strong fundamentals and revenue-generating models could outperform the broader market. He said most altcoins will not make it. The era of everything pumping is over. And I would agree, guys. These altcoins likely to outperform its potential ETF approvals. Yeah, coins that have ETF approvals are going to pump based on the speculation and based on the seed funding to get those ETFs started. But as we saw with Bitcoin, that is not going to last forever. Bitcoin is not going to go straight up forever. It's going to have corrections, it's going to have down moves. And, people are going to, the narrative shift, sustainable attention drivers and revenue generating models. As I've explained, as the meme coin season ends and money drains out of Solana and the other meme coin ecosystems, what we are going to see is that money is going to flow into other areas of the market. In my view, it's going to flow back into the fundamentals. Right now, in January in 2024, most of the market moves were not based on fundamentals. It was just based on speculation. And we saw a lot of this after the election with the Trump pump. Now, with meme coin season, guys, that money is flowing somewhere. Half of the market cap of Solana being drained over the last few months. It didn't just disappear. That money and that value went somewhere else. And in my view, it's going to be moving into other coins outside of meme coins. But now that the SEC says most meme coins are not securities, oh boy, this is definitely going to be opening up a lot of new things. And by the way, I'm not against it. You guys know I believe in freedom of the markets, and I believe that you should be able to buy any crypto you want, right? Should there be risk assessment and all of this stuff that the SEC or previous SEC Gary Gensler wanted with, I don't know. I mean, that's really up to you. But at the end of the day, if you go to a store and they say, we're selling you this, this magic pill, you're going to lose weight, you're going to get a six-pack abs, and you're going to have a thick head of hair, you're going to be the most beautiful person on the planet, and then it doesn't work. I mean, why would you think that would work in the first place, right? And so, yes, some of it is on you as you are investing. You have to learn about it. You have to understand the risks. It's not just, this is why people call it a casino, but it's like people go in, they have these false expectations that they're going to become overnight millionaires by investing in the coin that everybody else is talking about. This doesn't make any sense. And so in the meme coin ecosystem, if people want to buy them and trade them, they can, but you're going to lose. Like it's almost a guarantee, right? The amount of people that you see the stories written about this person, Dogecoin millionaire, this and that, very, very rare, right? It's like 1 out of millions. Anyway, they said meme coins typically have limited or no use or functionality and are more akin to collectibles, according to the agency's Division of Corporate Finance. They said it's the division's view that transactions in the type of meme coins described in the statement do not involve the offer and sale of securities under federal law. Persons who participate in the offer and sale of meme coins do not need to register their transactions with the commission. Accordingly, neither meme coin purchaser nor holders are protected by the federal securities laws. It also said a meme coin does not constitute any of the common financial instruments specifically enumerated in the definition of a security because, among other things, it doesn't generate a yield or convey rights to future income, profits, or assets of a business. In other words, a meme coin is not itself a security. Guys, it took us 4 years of nonsense with the former SEC chair to get clarity. This is clarity, right? Whether they said it was a security or not, this is clarity. The previous administration, it would have been, well, we would have to talk to the meme coin founders and really understand all of their stuff. And, then after the meme coin founders go and talk to them, then they get sued, right? This is the beginning of very positive things for the crypto markets, because it's not just the meme coin situation, right? The SEC dropped the case against Coinbase, against Consensus, up against Uniswap, against Gemini Crypto Exchange. It's a new era where crypto is going to be accepted, and I believe that it has to be. Like, I'm so happy that this is happening, because at the end of the day, the route that the country was going from a regulation standpoint, a regulation by enforcement, the US was going to be way far behind on all of this digital economy. And I think every American wants to be number one, right? And so to be number one, we have to embrace the technology and give very clear guidance. It's not my job to tell you what you can and cannot invest in, right? I have this channel because back in the day, I would watch YouTubers and they say, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip. But they've been on, they've been in Bitcoin since 15,000. There's people coming in who started buying at 100,000. You're telling them to buy the dip at 80,000. If we go to 50,000, they lost a lot more money than somebody who bought in at 18,000. And so I didn't understand that when I started learning about investing. And so I wanted to create a channel to kind of bring my viewer and audience on my investing journey and kind of how I've been learning and thinking about how the markets move and why they move a certain way, and is there any trends that we can look for to kind of capitalize on it. But that's your responsibility to do, right? What the SEC was doing was not giving clarity to people, and it wasn't protecting anybody, right? Nobody was being protected. Think about FTX, BlockFi, all of these exchanges that went down. It didn't protect anybody. Now you could say, well, they got the money back for the customers, but that's after multiple years. They didn't protect anybody. And so giving clarity and saying meme coins are not securities. You are not protected by law if you're buying and trading meme coins, right? So maybe the exchanges, they're going to start listing these coins and they'll just put a disclaimer like, these are not securities, you're not protected, you have the potential to lose 99% of your money. Now, there's going to be some people who still say, well, it's Coinbase's fault, or it's Binance's fault, or it's this YouTuber's fault that I bought this coin. It's like, no, it's your fault that you bought that coin. It's your fault. If you don't like pizza and you go and eat pizza, you can't blame the pizzeria for serving you pizza. You went there to buy it. It just really doesn't make any sense, right? And by the way, I was at a restaurant the other day, and it was like a Greek type restaurant, and somebody was complaining that they didn't have other options of food. And I said to the waiter, I'm like, they came into your restaurant, like you have the menu out front on your door. Like, why are they complaining about this? But anyway, you guys kind of get the point. Do your own research. That's basically the bottom line on that. But yeah, are Solana, Polygon, and Cardano in the clear after the SEC crypto case dismissals? Now, I'm going to be doing a separate video specifically on this topic. But here's the deal. I do not believe the major cryptos that have been around for multiple years are going to be targets of the SEC. It just doesn't seem like this is what they want to do. They're probably going to provide clarity on what is a security, what is a commodity, what agency is going to cover it, what disclosures they need. But I think that they're thinking this from the ground up, not like, well, we have securities laws from 1934 and we need to abide by those. It's like 1934, they didn't even have computers. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this makes no sense. I don't think Solana, I don't think Polygon, I don't think Cardano, like, keep in mind, the SEC in their cases, they were naming all the cryptos they possibly could as these are securities, right? Multiple. But at the end of the day, we're seeing over and over that this is not a security, this is not a security. I don't think any crypto has been deemed in a court an actual security as of yet. So do I think Solana, Polygon, and Cardano in the clear? I do. I don't think that any major cryptos are going to have action taken against them. I think when there's fraud or when there's insider sales, that's a different story. right? And is that going to happen with meme coins? I don't know. Meme Chain aims to bring the heat to Solana with a $1 million flash raise. With the recent turmoil in crypto space, this project claims that everyone is pretending to fix things, and they're here to make it, and those are here to make it worse. Investors apparently have taken an interest in this idea. In the satirical layer 2 pulled off a $1 million flash raise. To me, this explains, number one, this is all hype. $1 million raise in the meme coin season, where just on the Libra coin, the insiders that sniped $100 million. And they're talking about $1 million is like, wow, we got a $1 million raise. It's like, no, that's nothing. And number two, who cares about? None of this is going to change the world. None of this is going to be adopted into traditional finance. No institution is buying into this stuff. Like, it's just not happening. And so all of this is the same stuff as the NFTs last cycle. No, NFTs are going to change the world. You can't right click and save my NFT. I own it on the blockchain. It's like, I just did it. Like, this hype is so ridiculous. And the people who are involved in like, well, we're going to have a meme coin change the world. I don't know whether they're lying or they're just delusional. Like, I really don't know. But either way, moving right along, Texas Senate moves forward with Bitcoin reserve proposal. And by the way, if you're up to this point in the video, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. If you want to help support the channel, become a channel member, click the join button down below to learn more. Or you can also use the super chat down below in the comments section to support, thanks to all of our supporters and members. So as we've been seeing, a lot of states have been proposing Bitcoin reserves, and a lot of states have been knocking them down. Well, Texas is moving forward with their Bitcoin proposal, initially focused solely on Bitcoin. This bill was amended to incorporate other digital assets, aligning with the federal efforts for a national digital asset reserve. And so it was unanimously backed on February 27th. This is known as Senate Bill 21, which would allow the Texas comptroller to acquire and manage Bitcoin and other cryptos as part of the state's financial reserves. Now, are we going to actually see this implemented? Probably in Texas, maybe in Florida, but I would imagine many of the other states, there's going to be a lot of pushback, right? It seems like the other side is just pushing back on everything instead of coming together to collaborate. Listen, I mean, for me, this is not like a party line thing, like crypto and blockchain. And I'm actually surprised that a lot of people put it into a political realm, right? Because it's not. And I believe that crypto can help. I mean, guys, even if you think about like somebody like AOC, she's not for or against Bitcoin. She actually did a video like an Ask Me Anything where people asked her about Bitcoin, and she said, I don't want to own it because I want to look at it unbiased when I'm thinking about legislation, which I'm like, okay, but you can still buy it. Like it just makes sense, right? But even for her constituents, a lot of immigrant communities, right? Legal immigration as well. And a lot of these people, they send money back home. And so just that, right? A lot of these people are unbanked because they don't have the minimums for like a JP Morgan Chase. You need $25,000 in the bank. So they go to check cashing stores. So they're getting hit with 10% there. Then they send money back home through Western Union and they're hit 10% there. And literally on Coinbase, you can send money to many Latin American countries completely for free, right? So somebody can literally go in Latin America to one of the participating stores or whatever. They scan their QR code and you can send them money and they can get the cash out, right? And so whatever your view on, immigration is, it doesn't matter. Like I'm just giving you guys an example of constituencies and why crypto and Bitcoin can actually be positive for a lot of the communities that are underserved, whether they're unbanked, whether they're immigration situation, whether it's people sending money back home, like all of these type of things we should be thinking about from all different political backgrounds. Anyway, moving right along. One of the things we've been covering recently is the Bitcoin mining companies. I think they're going to do extremely well in the coming years, especially a lot of them are pivoting to AI. We've been talking about this a lot. Pivot to AI, pivot to AI. And so end of February 2025, most of the companies released their full year 2024 results and also guidance for the upcoming year. So TerraWolf, WULF, let's see where they're sitting at. I think they've come down fairly substantially. We started talking about TerraWolf last year when it was like $2. Yeah, you could see under $1 here, $2. And TerraWolf went all the way up to about $9. So from 2 to 9, that's what? 3.5x, 300%. That's pretty big, guys. 157 to 930. And right now we're at a $1.4 billion market cap. And let's see what the company announced. So they announced a strategic expansion into AI-driven HPC. Bingo, hello, AI. Hosting with long-term data center leases expected to generate $1 billion in cumulative revenue over the initial 10-year contract terms. Annual revenue and adjusted EBITDA increased 102% and 89% year over year, expanded self-mining operating capacity by 94% year over year to 9.7 exahashes. That's self-mining. Strengthened their balance sheet, cash and Bitcoin holdings of $275 million. So keep in mind, out of this market cap, $275 million is in cash and crypto. Moving along to Riot Platforms, one of the other large Bitcoin mining companies, Riot. Ticker name is Riot, and we're at $8.53. You could see the year range. Oh my God. Riot has a very interesting chart because when you back it up, it looks pretty good, right? I'm sure there was a lot of sheer dilution here as well, but when you pull up the 1 year, it's like all over the place from $16 down to $6, back up to $16. Now we're basically almost back to $6. I don't know why there's so much volatility. And by the way, I also don't understand why the Bitcoin mining companies, their 1 year charts, they all look different. I mean, they literally all look different. You saw Riot Platforms, $16 down to $9 or whatever it was, where TerraWolf went from $2 up to $10, right? So the big difference in how these companies performed over the last year in the same category, right? Anyway, Riot Platforms reported $376 million in total revenue and deployed a hash rate of 31.5 exahashes per second. You guys know for me, this is a big indicator of kind of where they are operating. It's a really good exahash number. Almost $3 billion market cap, you can see right here for Riot Platforms, which means their market cap is about 10x what their revenue is. Anyway, they said Riot Platforms had a remarkable year, generating record revenues of $276 million and a net income of $109 million. It's pretty good. These results are particularly noteworthy in the context of Bitcoin's global network halving in April of last year and an increase in global hash rate of 67% over the course of that year. Riot also generated record EBITDA of $463 million in 2024, demonstrating the value of the Bitcoin treasury policy of retaining Bitcoin production rather than selling. I don't know what their total amount held. I think they hold around 10 to 20,000 Bitcoin. Marathon Digital, on the other hand, they own a lot more. So Marathon is the largest Bitcoin mining company by both hash rate and market cap. You can see $4.46 billion here. The 1 year chart, very similar to Riot. Started high, came down low, went back high, came back down low. Now, Marathon Digital, again, they have a much different kind of setup than many of the other Bitcoin mining companies, but effectively, okay, that's not what I wanted. They have these images. Let's pull this out. Okay, this is what I wanted. So their revenue was $656 million. Their net income was $541 million. It's pretty good. Adjusted EBITDA was $1.2 billion. Direct energy cost per Bitcoin for their own site was $28,801. Essentially, that means how much they pay in energy per Bitcoin, right? That's almost their cost to mine Bitcoin. Obviously, there's a little bit of other overhead like payroll and taxes and stuff like that. But generally speaking, energy costs $28,000. When Bitcoin's at $80,000, it's a pretty good markup there. And then they have 44,000, almost 45,000 Bitcoin in their holdings. So also really good performer in my view. Then we have Core Scientific, CORZ. My long-term viewers probably made a lot of money on Core Scientific. If you've been following, because we've been watching Core Scientific since before they were in bankruptcy. And then while they were in bankruptcy, the stock went down to 5 cents. Adjusted to the new stock out of bankruptcy was about 50 cents. So 50 cents to a yearly high of $19 is basically a 40x, 40x. So let's see what their results look like. 2024 results, they had 974 self-mined Bitcoin, 51,000 average cash cost to self-mine one Bitcoin. I'm guessing that's their all-in number, $51,000, which is pretty high, to be honest. Especially now we're at $80,000, meaning they're only making 30,000 per Bitcoin. So if you do the math on that, 974 Bitcoin, and they're making 30,000 per, it's only $29 million. It's not that big of a number. Especially what we just saw Marathon, their cost to mine energy. Now, keep in mind, cost to mine energy is a different statistic from what we just showed, but I would imagine it's fairly close in range. But anyway, 95 million in total revenue, increased their total portfolio capacity, 1,300 megawatts of powered infrastructure. They secured $625 million through convertible note offerings with favorable 0% interest terms, and they strengthened their balance sheet. And I believe they also own Bitcoin, but I cannot find that number anywhere. So if you guys know how much Core Scientific owns, let me know down below in the comments. We also heard from Cypher Mining. They released their 2024 results, reporting fourth quarter net earnings of 18 million. They completed the upgrade of the Odessa fleet, increasing their hash rate to around 13.5 exahashes per second. It's kind of in line with some of the mid-range Bitcoin mining companies like Bitfarms, although Bitfarms is highly undervalued compared to Cypher, right? Cypher Mining, SCIFR, you can see a $1.35 billion valuation, and Bitfarms valuation is about $500 million right now. So significantly less when they basically have the same amount of hash rate. And also Bitfarms is pivoting to AI, but we'll be talking about that on a lot of other videos. Anyway, they completed their acquisition of a 100 megawatt data center site, near completion of phase one of another site, completing the acquisition of additional 337 acres of land adjacent to one of their other sites. And they're entering into a 60-day exclusivity for negotiations to build an additional 500 megawatts high-powered compute data center adjacent to the current site. So again, all the ones that I'm covering today have announced kind of these potential moves into AI and HPC. Now, at a glance, this person on X posted these charts, and I thought that they were really interesting. Exahashes added over the last 12 months. You can see Clean Spark added 30 exahashes per second. Marathon added 28 exahashes per second. Iris Energy, almost 25 exahashes. Riot Platforms, 21. Bitfarms, 8.7. So they're all adding over the last 12 months. The percent of the network's hash rate, you can see Marathon has a significant portion, followed by Clean Spark, and then Iris, and then Riot. You guys can pause the videos here if you want to just kind of take a look at the charts. Year over year, Bitcoin mine difference. You can see most are under except for Clean Spark and Iris Energy. That's interesting, but it's also important to remember that we went through the Bitcoin halving. So you're looking at it before and after the halving. And then market cap, right? So Bitfarms is all the way down here, and Bitfarms is continuing to grow. You guys know I'm very bullish on Bitfarms. And also, I would say BitDeer. I thought I pulled up the results for BitDeer, but I think that they reported as well this past week. So yeah, guys, there's so much happening in the markets, and I wouldn't just focus on one crypto or one stock or one asset. Like really kind of look at the whole picture of these markets. What is going to be the next thing? What is going to be the next narrative? Where is my money moving? And also be able to identify these kind of top-ish situations, like the meme coin craze. You know, like nobody's interested in Bitcoin going from 18,000 to 100,000. Nobody's interested in, countries buying Bitcoin. Nobody's interested in Bitcoin in the Bitcoin reserve. Everyone is like focused on, oh, I'm interested now that I can make, a coin called, Best Sneakers or something like that. Peanut the Squirrel. There's a coin Doji on Mars. When people are interested there, they're not really interested. And it's the same thing when somebody asks you about, should I invest in this? Should I invest in this? When we're literally at all-time record highs, right? Like if somebody asked me right now, hey, Cryptoviser, I want to invest in crypto, I wouldn't really necessarily think they're tourists, right? Tourist means they're not really an investor. They're just in the hype. But I remember I told you guys during the previous cycle, somebody called me during the Shiba Inu and Elon Mars and Dogecoin pump. And they wanted to take loans out. They wanted to buy more Shiba Inu. And I'm like, we are literally at all-time record highs. Even this past November, December, I don't remember when it was, but somebody asked me about investing. And I'm like, well, why would you invest now versus, when Bitcoin was 20,000 or 30,000 or 40,000 or 50,000 or 60,000? Why are you talking about it when it's 100,000? And they're like, well, I'm ready now. Well, literally that was the top of the market. So that means the news was talking about it. It was probably all over social media, right? That was top-ish. So being able to identify these things and then utilize it in your portfolio, when somebody's asking you about, or you just hear people talking in a store about meme coins, top of the market. Anyway, I remember during previous cycles, people would say that their taxi driver was giving them crypto investing advice, and that's the top signal for them. Anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to give the video a free thumbs up. I upload as much as possible to keep you guys on top of the latest happening in the financial world. Nothing I say is financial advice. Do your own research. And I'll see you when I see you. Crypto on.